So now coming to structure and texture of igneous rocks. So what is structure and what is texture? So these structure and texture are the physical properties which are associated with the rocks. These are very important physical properties which are associated with the rocks. They occur along the formation of the rocks. When the rocks are forming up, during that process they are going to get formed. The structure is going to be formed or texture of the rock is going to be formed during the process of the formation of the rock. So they are very important. Why? Because there are three reasons. First one, they contribute to the strength or weakness of the rock. The strength of the rock or weakness of the rock is going to be dependent on the whether it is based on the structure and texture of that particular rocks. They serve as the distinguishing feature of rock. So on basis of the structure and texture, we can classify the rock or we can identify the rock. We can predict the properties of the rock. So that is why they act as the distinguishing feature of the rock. They reveal the mode of origin of the rock concerned. So how these rocks are formed, that also going to be understood by seeing the structure and texture of the igneous rock. So what is the structure? What is this texture? Structure refers to the large scale features or field characteristics of the rock as bedding, columnar structure, pillow structure, etc. So this is about structure. Next, texture. Texture refers to the small scale features like porphyritic texture, interlocking texture, which can be studied in the hand specimens. Means small specimens are sufficient to study the texture of the rock. Whereas is a large scale feature, large a hilly mass or a bedding plane. We have to see on visual inspection of the large area, we can understand the structure of the rock. So this is about structure and texture. So what is the importance of the structure and texture? So coming to the importance, structure and texture are the physical features associated with the rocks. These are the physical features associated with the rock. Primarily, they occur with the formation of the rocks and important because the reasons, if we see, they are going to contribute to the strength and weakness of the rock. They serve as the distinguishing feature of the rock. They reveal the mode of origin of the rock. Next, structure is used in the context of different secondary geological structures like folds and faults which also occur in the rock. So that structure is very important to predict the behavior of the soil, behavior of the rock. Next one, what are the common structures of igneous rocks? The most commonly available structures, if we see, first one is the vesicular structure. Vesicular structure means it refers to the vesicles or cavities within the igneous rock. So why these vesicles are going to be coming out of these igneous rocks, if we see, mainly due to expulsion of gases. Gas expulsion is more prominent, and that bubbles which are formed due to expulsion of gases results in the formation of vesicles in the rock body. So they often occur during these volcanic eruptions, means lava which is coming out of this volcanic eruption is going to be exposed to atmosphere. When it is undergoing densification or solidification process, these gases will undergo expulsion. Gases will be getting expel out. Gases are going to expel out. Because of that, vesicles are going to be formed. Pumice, scoria, all these are common types of this vesicular structure. Here you can see all these are vesicles. All these are vesicles. Why? Because of the volcanic expulsion. During the volcanic expulsion, gases are going to get expelled out. Gases are going to be expelled out, and it leads to formation of vesicular structure. Next one, amygdala structure. So what is this amygdala structure? Means if the vesicles what were formed in the vesicular structure are filled with some other material, if they were filled with material like calcite, quartz, then the term amygdala should be added to the textural description. So that is, amygdala is defined as a refilled vesicle. So the vesicles which are going to be formed are going to get filled up with some other material. Here you can see the vesicles are going to get filled up with some other extra material, then it is called amygdala structure. Next one, columnar structure. So all these, if you see, they are large scale features. Columnar structure, if the in the volcanic rock appears to be made up of numerous polygonal prismatic columns bundled together. So number of columns bundled together, and it seems to be formed like that. So that is what we call columnar structure. It results of this is the result of contraction of lava during cooling. So when the lava is undergoing cooling process, if contraction is taking place, it results in columnar structure. Next one, sheet like structure. Before that, we can see the picture. This is the columnar structure. You can see here all these are available in the forms of columns. That is why it is called a columnar structure. Next one, sheet like structure. The rock appears to be made up of numerous sheets because of the development of nearly horizontal cracks. So the rock is seeming to be formed by overlaying of sheets one over the other. One over the other, how these sheets are going to be formed. Like this, it is visible to us. So that is why it is called sheet-like structure. It is the effect of erosion over the rocks formed at a depth. Because of the erosion, mainly the sheet-like structure is more possible. Here you can see sheet-like appearance. All these are different sheets. We can see the sheets. This is what we call sheet-like structure. Next one, flow structure. The structure refers to the nearly parallel feature occurring in the volcanic rock which develops as a consequence of flow of lava. So because of the lava flow, if the because of the another thing is because of the viscosity, because of high viscosity, this um, flow like structure is going to be occurred. Next, pillow like structure. If the volcanic igneous body appears to be pile of or a heap of numerous overlapping pillows or sacks, just like how sacks are going to be laid one over the other sacks heap, it appears to be like that, then it is called pillar structure. So here you can see this is a pillar structure, appears to be one over the other sack like structures, one laying one over the other. Here also you can see sack like structures laying one over the other, that is pillar structure. And flow structure, because of the high viscous fluid, when the viscosity of the fluid is very high at low temperatures and densification has taken place or solidification has taken place, it refers to flow structure. Next, texture of igneous rocks. So texture is divided on basis of degree of crystallinity. Degree of crystallinity means how effectively crystallization has taken place. Second one, based on the crystal size. Based on the degree of crystallinity, how effectively crystallization has taken place. Hollow halide rocks composed entirely of glass, no crystals visible even with magnification, means crystallization has not taken place, only glassy material is present, then hollow halide we call. Hollow crystalline rocks composed entirely of crystals indicates cooling which sufficiently slow and allow complete crystallization to occur. So this is second case where fully completely of crystals. In the first case only glass is there, glassy material, no crystalline material is there, that is first case. Second case is completely crystalline material, no glassy material is there, means slow cooling is taking place. Third one, hypocrystalline. The rocks composed of both crystals and glasses indicates period of relative slow cooling, sufficiently slow to allow crystallization, followed by quenching of the remaining magma. Means crystallization has taken place to some extent and solidification has taken place. Glassy material is formed to some extent. Both are present. Then it is called hypocrystalline or hyalocrystalline. So these are based on the degree of crystallinity, how effectively crystallization has taken place. Based on that, we are classifying as three textures. Next one, based on crystal size. If the size of the crystal is large, if the size of the crystal is uniform, if the size of the crystal is different, uh, inequigranular, then means of different sizes, then like that we are going to classify. So based on the crystal size, if you see, first one is equigranular. Equigranular means all the crystals are approximately of same size. Indicates that the rock crystal and a single set of P and T conditions, means pressure and temperature. Because of uniform pressure and temperature, same size materials are going to be formed. So in the equigranular also we are having different types. First one is aphanitic. uniformly fine grained texture in which individual crystals are too small to see even without a magnification. Without magnification we are unable to see the grains size of the grain or particle size of the grain, then it is called aphanitic. So in this also we are having two types, microcrystalline, cryptocrystalline. Microcrystalline means individual crystals large enough to be seen easily without a petrographic microscope. Cryptocrystalline means individual crystals are too small to see evenly with a microscope also. So here you can see rock with aphanitic texture, very fine grained. Everywhere we can see fine grained texture, fine grained texture it is. Next, phaneritic, second one. Two types in the equigranular, one is aphanitic, second type in the equigranular is phaneritic. Uniformly coarse grain texture means grain size is little bit larger, but they are uniformly grained, same size but larger size, then it is called phaneritic. So in this phaneritic also, based on the intensity of crystal size, it is classified further. First one, fine phaneritic, medium phaneritic, coarse phaneritic, pegmatitic. So average crystal size is less than 1 mm, it is fine phaneritic. If it is 1 to 5 mm, then it is medium phaneritic. 5 to 10 mm if the crystal size, then it is coarse phaneritic. Crystal size is more than 10 mm, pegmatitic. So based on the crystal size, all these are uniformly equigranular, means uniform size is there, but size may be varying. It may be 1 mm, all will be of same 1 mm. It may be 1 to 5 mm, it may all the particles may be of 1 to 5 mm. 5 to 10 mm, all particles may be of 5 to 10 mm, like that. So example, you see granite. Granite is a phaneritic texture. Next one, porphyritic. This is a porphyritic texture consisting two different sizes. If it is not uniform, uh, uniformity is not there, but to some extent is there. Two different sizes are there, and based on that we are calling it as porphyritic. So indicates two different distinctly different modes of cooling. Why? Because these two different sizes are there, because two modes of cooling is there. Larger crystals are called phenocryst. Phenocryst nearly euhedral, and surrounding the phenocryst is called matrix or ground mass. So in this we are further classified as porphyritic halide, porphyritic aphanitic, porphyritic phaneritic. So phenocryst surrounded by glassy mass. So if the surrounding ground mass is glassy ground mass, then it is called porphyritic halide. Porphyritic aphanitic means phenocrysts are surrounded by aphanitic ground mass. So because this is because initial period of slow cooling followed by rapid crystallization. Earlier in the porphyritic halide, if you see, initial period is slow cooling followed by quenching of the remaining. Sudden cooling, quenching means. Third one, porphyritic phaneritic. Phenocryst surrounded by porphyritic phaneritic ground mass, means fine ground mass, indicates two stages of slow crystallization introduced at two different levels. Because of this, porphyritic phaneritic mass is going to take place. So this is a rhyolite rock which is a porphyritic texture. Two different sizes you can see. Golden color or yellow color is one size and black color is another. So this is about texture and structure of the igneous rocks. Texture and structure of the